It's no secret that American businesses across all industries are making automation advancements in their day-to-day activities. I think we would all agree with that. This is a reality that North Carolinians in my district face every day. In fact, Mr. Peretti, you previously mentioned Greensboro, a city in my district, as being one of the cities that has high automation potential. But the solution to ensuring that workers are prepared for new automation-driven jobs is not found in my opinion, additional mandates imposed on local businesses by the federal government. Our evidence shows that it is found in private-public partnerships that facilitate collaboration between employers and employees to engage in ongoing training. So, Mr. Peretti, we have repeatedly heard today that increased automation is the main cause for job displacement. However, the growing trends toward automation can actually have a positive impact on our economy. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
No, I would absolutely agree. I mean, I think in the long run, the effect on our labor market and our economy is going to be very positive. Productivity is increased, all of those things. Costs are lower, all passed on to consumers.
So this is not just abstract. You have data that proves this assertion. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I could get that to the committee.
You mentioned in your testimony the importance of offering tax incentives to encourage saving for new training and development, similar to a 529 savings accounts or 401k. Can you explain what would be the benefit to displaced workers if they had access to these kinds of savings accounts?
Certainly. Two areas come to mind. One is just the fact of having the money set aside in a tax-favored way. That means when it is time to reskill, and perhaps before it is time. We don't endorse the concept of you should wait for your job to be gone to start thinking about the next one. You should constantly be building your skills, and if you have those resources to draw on, like a lifelong learning account or something of that sort, that provides that for you. Also, done correctly, they provide a portability of benefits. I think one of the members on the earlier mentioned the contingent workforce. Now, that number is not, BLS data suggests that number is not growing as quickly as the trope would suggest, that, oh, we're all becoming contingent workers. The number has actually stayed fairly static, but one thing that certainly contingent workers face is a problem that so many of our benefit systems, starting with the ERISA-governed plans that are within the committee's jurisdiction, are tied to an employer and tied to your employment. If you can carry some of these benefits from employer to different jobs, when you're working in a contingent basis, when you're working full-time, when you're working part-time, I think that goes a long way, too, towards providing a cushion there for folks.
What do you feel like the opposition from that particular perspective or approach that you just mentioned, where do you feel that there's opposition preventing that from happening?
Certainly insofar as we are willing to provide tax-favored, a tax-favored treatment of set aside for money, that does take resources. That is a coster. So we need to have the wherewithal to say, okay, are we willing to spend that money? Or alternately, if we're not willing to spend new money, where can we find money that we're now spending in a not so productive way that might allow us to do that?
Yeah, we might have a few of those in this House. As I stated earlier, public-private partnerships have been proven to address the issues related to our skills gap much better than the federal government can. What are some of the challenges, if you would, that you all face at the Emma Coalition when partnering with other organizations such as America Succeeds to bridge the gap between employers and education? Let me put it this way. What can we do in Congress to ease some of these burdens and further your goal?
Sure. Well, I think, to be frank, this hearing this morning is a great start towards that, because one of the challenges we've faced, if we 2 years ago, if I'd started to have this conversation with someone about AI and training and what the impact on the workforce is going to be, I might get a polite nod, no, that's interesting, and find someone else to talk to. But I think now that we have realized that this is a thing, and the national dialogue that Emma was formed to start and to foster has already begun, as evidenced by the fact that we're sitting in this room. So one of the challenges we face is just getting employers, employees, and others to understand this is something that is going to happen, and we need to be taking responsibility for it now. We can't try to do this from the rearview mirror. It won't work.
Thank you for your expertise, Madam Chair. Yield back.